Hello guys, I hope you all are doing good. I am Vaishali Khan and we are discussing the optical communication. Today in this video, we are going to talk in detail about the fiber fabrication methods. What are the different methods by which we can fabricate the optical fiber? We are going to see in this video. So is the optical fiber fabrication easy or it is difficult? So you have to judge it after watching this video. You have to tell me with the help of the comments. You can let me know, was it difficult or was it easy to make the optical fibers. So let's start with the fabrication of the optical fiber. If I broadly classify the fabrication methods, we can classify the fabrication method into two types. First is the vapor phase oxidation process. So we are going to talk in detail about the vapor phase oxidation process. We are going to talk in detail about the 4 methods and 1 modified method, right? So the vapor phase oxidation process is one technique and the direct melting method is another technique. So we have to talk in detail about the vapor phase oxidation. So we are talking about it later on. First, let's discuss the direct melting method. So what happens in the direct melting method? As the name suggests, it's direct melting. So we are having the fibers which are directly made from the molten state of the purified components of the silicate glass. So here we should have a very purified silicate glass and then only I can melt it and then I can make the fibers directly from it. But actually, practically, do we have very pure silicate glass? No, we don't have that. So always we are not having very pure silicate glass by melting which I can get the optical fiber. So now we are moving towards the vapor phase oxidation process. So now here, as the name suggests, we are having the oxidation in the vapors. So we have some halides, the metal halides like SiCl4 and GeCl4. So these are the metal halides. These are the metal halides which are taken in the pure vapor form. Now the pure vapors of the metal halides are made to react with the oxygen to form the white powder of SiO2. So we know this SiO2 is acting as a glass, right? So now here, first of all, I have taken SiCl4 or GeCl4 and then we have the reaction of the metal halide with the oxygen. So it is also done with the help of a chemical reaction. We are having the basically chemical reaction for the formation of the optical fiber, right? So for SiO2, we are having the chemical reaction. So now the SiO2 particles are collected on the surface of the bulk glass. We have taken a bulk glass surface over which we are collecting the SiO2 by any of the 4 processes that we are going to discuss. And this is transferred to the homogeneous glass by a process which is called the smuttering, which is called heating without melting. Right, first of all we have deposited SiO2 which is acting as a glass, right? So which is also called the soot, right? So after depositing the soot, we are going to heat it. So we are going to give it a temperature such that soot is not going to melt. So at that temperature, smuttering will happen and we are going to fabricate the homogeneous glass. So this process is making a very homogeneous glass and this is also called the heating without melting, right? So first of all, we are going to form a preform. What is a preform? Preform is a clear glass rod or a tube which is formed by the help of vapor phase oxidation, right? So the preform is then heated, right? So we are having the furnace. In the furnace, we are converting this preform into the form of optical fibers. By heating it, we will be making it soft and then with the help of the rotating element is going to make it into the very thin filaments which is then made into the optical fibers. So now here you can see in the figure, we have the fibers which are made from the molten state of the purified components of the silicate glass, right? So now here we are having this length to be 60 to 120 centimeter and the diameter would be 10 to 25 mm only. So we are going to fabricate very thin optical fiber. Optical fiber are very thin in nature. They are as thin as our hair. So right, so we are going to make the optical fiber with the help of the vapor phase oxidation or VPO process. So now let's discuss about the first OPVO process, right, which is outside vapor phase oxidation method, right. So here we are not using any bounded tube. Here we are using the outside oxidation method for the formation of the soot. So now here we are having the layer of SiO2 particles which are deposited on the mandrel. So mandrel is any rod over which we are going to deposit the SiO2 particles. So now SiO2 particles are going to deposit it as the soot, they are going to deposit it from the burner. So in the burner what we have the metal halides and we have the oxygen. So this is the burner. In the burner the reaction of the metal halide and the oxygen will be happening. So you can see here in the burner we have O2 plus metal halide vapor. Both of them are going to react in the burner due to the high temperature, and it is going to send the glass particles over this soot. So now here if we have a layer of soot over which another layer of soot will be formed, and then another layer of soot will be formed. So now here at the center we have the supporting rod which is called the mandrel. So soot is deposited from the burner onto a rotating graphite or ceramic mandrel. So this mandrel is rotating. Why it is rotating? So as to have a uniform coverage of the glass particle throughout the diameter of this mandrel, right. So the glass particle has to cover all of the sides equally. So I will be having the rotating mandrel. So I will be having the mandrel of graphite or ceramic material, right. So now after that we have formed the glass soot. It is going to adhere by layer form onto the mandrel, and in the form of cylindrical porous glass platform it is going to form. Because I can remove the mandrel now, right, but I would be left with the glass particles which are hollow. Because if I remove this mandrel I will be left out with the hollow surface in the center, right. So now after that we are having the metal halide vapor streams which are controlled with the supply is controlled with the some external control mechanism, so that I can control the deposition, right. If I want a particular thickness for the soot, I will control it with the reaction of the halide particles with the oxygen, right. And how we can control the reaction? We can control the reaction by controlling the volume of the metal halide vapors which are going to the burner. So we have some external controller which is controlling the amount of metal halide vapors which are going to the burner to get reacted to form the glass particles, right. So here we will be forming the glass particles in a controlled manner, and the control is there from the outside, so that I will be getting desired composition and the dimensions. Now here with the help of this method, OPVO method, we can form the step as well as graded index optical fibers. Now as I told you, the mandrel is removed and we are going to get a porous tube, right, and then it is vitrified in the dry atmosphere at the 1400 degrees Celsius. So a very high temperature application is done, right. So at this temperature I should have such structure that it does not melt. So if I am using this high temperature, obviously the mandrel will not be present. So here we are going to get this soot particle only, right. So after that you can see we have the soot preform, and here inside this structure we will be having a porous structure. So this is the porous structure inside it. This is the hollow part inside this structure, and here we have the core, and outer to that we have the cladding surface. So we are forming the core and cladding by controlling the amount of halides. We can control the halides, we can control the refractive index also, because the external chemical reaction is in our control. So now we can make the core as well as the cladding material, right. After that we have removed the mandrel and we have the porous tube. We have vitrified it in the dry atmosphere at 1400 degrees Celsius. Now we have to make a clear glass platform from the soot. So now till now we have the soot only, mandrel is removed, now we have a porous soot. We have to make a clear glass platform so that light can travel through it and we can make the optical fiber. So now it is mounted to the fiber drawing tower, right? So when it is mounted to the fiber drawing tower inside the furnace, this is the furnace. So inside the furnace we are going to perform the sintering operation. In the sintering operation we have the soot and we are going to get the glass preform with the help of high temperature application. Here we are going to apply high temperature to the soot and it is going to convert into the clear glass preform. So this is the glass preform which we have made with the help of the furnace, and when the fiber is went inside this furnace and we have supplied the high temperature to the furnace. Central hole is collapsed during this drawing method when I am drawing it into the optical fiber. So now this clear glass preform is drawn into the form of optical fibers. Now if I have any rotating paddle which is drawing it into the form of optical fiber, I must have a continuous rotating speed of this paddle, because if I have a very different speed I will be having the different thickness of the optical fiber. I want to maintain the thickness of the optical fiber throughout its length, so I will be having the continuous rotation velocity, right? So now here we have the central hole is collapsing during this formation of the optical fiber. So this problem of central hole is now not there and we will be having various stages as shown in this figure, right? So now coming to the next type of deposition method, which is the vapor phase axial deposition method, so which is also called the VAD method, right? What was there in this outside vapor phase oxidation method? We were getting loss less than 20 dB per kilometer, which was desired. I already told you we want loss less than 20 dB per kilometer, but the problem was the high amount of contaminants and the process is taking a lot of time. A lot of our energy is wasted in this process because it's an external process. So now here we are using the silica glass rod as a seed, plus here we had the problem of this hole, right? So we were making the porous tube. Now this was also a problem. So these problems were tackled with the help of vapor phase axial deposition. Here we were having the circular deposition. So glass was deposited, soot platform was there rotated in the circular direction, right? So we were having the glass or soot deposition in the circular manner, in the circular layer by layer form. One layer is there above the above layer, then above layer, then we have one more layer deposited. In this manner we have the circular layers which are deposited. Now what will happen if I deposited this layer in the axial direction? Instead of depositing this layer in the lateral direction, if I deposit it in the axial direction, what will happen? The central hole will not be there due to the existence of the mandrel at the central region, right? So here this is the same process as OPVO, but here we are using the silica glass rod as the seed, right? So silica glass, we have taken a silica glass and we are taking it as a seed. So seed is taken and over which we are depositing the another layers of the SiO2 by same reaction, metal halide vapor reacting with the oxygen to form the silica glass rod, right? So now the seed layer is going to give me a platform over which the further depositions can be taking place. So we are going to have the porous platform in the axial direction and we are going to have the upward motion of the rod, right? So we are having the deposition in the upward direction, right? So after that again, so we have now developed the soot layer. Now after that we have to form, after the soot layer we have to form the sintering. So how we can do the sintering? With the help of the zone melting, and we are going to have a solid transparent rod. So same method, with the help of furnace we can do the zone melting sintering operation, and now we can get the solid transparent rod. Now this solid transparent rod is transferred to another furnace, and this solid transparent rod, which is also called the glass preform, it is converted into the fiber. So here the advantage is that we don't have any central hole. The continuous length fabrication would be there, right? Here the fabrication is dependent upon the size of the mandrel, right? But here we can have the continuous length fabrication. Because we have the continuous length fabrication of core as well as cladding, the cost is less, right? And the yield is high. So this is how this is an improved method. So here we will be having the clean production because we are not using an outside mechanism. Here we are using a control mechanism. Clean production would be there, which means we are having lesser of defects. So now coming to the next type of method, which was the modified chemical vapor deposition. So again we have modified reaction. It was developed by the Bell Labs, and here we have the, what is the modification? We are using a tube here, right? So you can see in the figure we are using a tube here. So now here we are going to produce very low losses inside the fibers which we are going to produce. So the losses in dB are very less than the OPVO, because here we have used a completely inside environment, right? So we are going to produce a very low loss graded index fiber, right? So this is the advantage of using the modified chemical vapor deposition. So now here the glass particles, they are going to revolving silica tube and SiO2 is deposited. So here soot is deposited on the edges of the tube, and then we have a revolving oxyhydrogen torch. So sintering is done with the help of oxyhydrogen torch, which is revolving on the edges of this tube. So with the help of the oxyhydrogen torch, we are going to have the clear glass, or we are going to have the sintering process. Now the desired thickness can be achieved with the help of the shunting of the vapor flow, and we are going to give a strong heating of the tube. And now the tube is going to collapse at the strong heating, right? First of all, we are going to shunt the vapor flow so that no further layers of the SiO2 is going to deposit it, right? So we are going to remove away the oxyhydrogen torch as well. After that we are going to shunt the vapor flow, and after that we are going to give so much high temperature that the rod is going to collapse and we are going to form the solid rod preform. But here always and always, after the formation of preform, we are going to collapse or we are going to break the tube. So here we are going to have the core, which is vapor deposited material, and we are going to have the cladding as the original silica tube, right? So we can make or fabricate core as well as cladding with the help of this modified chemical vapor deposition method. Now coming to the next type of method, which was plasma activated chemical vapor deposition method, or which is also called the PCVD. Modified chemical vapor deposition is called MCVD. Here plasma activated chemical vapor deposition is called the PCVD. So here also we are depositing the reaction output of the reaction of the metal halide and the oxygen. But here this chemical reaction is initiated with the help of the plasma. So plasma is going to act like a catalyst in this reaction. So plasma is going to help in the initiation of the chemical reaction. So we are going to use a non-isothermal microwave plasma in this case, and we are going to get it at a very high temperature, 1000 to 1200 degrees Celsius. So the microwave resonator which is going to generate the plasma is acting at 2.45 gigahertz. At this high frequency we are going to generate the plasma which is going to initiate the reaction, otherwise the reaction is same. That was happening in the MCVD. Right, we are going to generate the clear glass material directly without any soot formation over here. So because the plasma is initiating this reaction, we are having very high temperature already, so there is no formation of the soot, and we are directly going to form the glass preform here. After that we can go to the fabrication of the optical fiber stage, right? So now after that we can go to the fiber drawing stage, right? After that we have the double crucible method. As the name suggests, here we have two crucibles, and the two crucibles are there for the separate production of the core and the cladding material, right? So we have the rod of core and cladding which are separately melted by the melting mixture. So we are using the separate crucibles in which we have the different material of the core which is formed and different material of the cladding which is formed with the help of the purified powder, and we are going to have the appropriate glass composition. For the core we require different glass composition, for the cladding we require different glass composition. Now the inner crucible, obviously the inside we have the core and outside we will be having the cladding. So inner crucible will contain the core and the outer crucible will contain the cladding. Now fiber is drawn from the molten state directly through the orifices. At the below end we can have the glass formed, so this can be drawn directly into the fibers, and so you can see here this is again a continuous process, so the losses due to the joints would be minimized. In this process again the cost would be low, so the careful attention should be followed for controlling the contaminants, because the problem of contaminants is much higher in the double crucible method. We have to carefully control all of the contaminants. So the sources of contamination are the furnace as well as the crucible structure, because we are using the silica or the platinum crucible, so we are having some contaminants which are deposited on the crucible itself, which we have to avoid. So first this structure is cleared thoroughly and then it is used for the fabrication of the optical fiber. So with the help of proper cleaning technology, with the help of various chemical agents, we are going to clear this structure having the double crucible, and then we can proceed with the fiber fabrication. So now silica is used for the glass feed rod formation and the platinum crucible is used for the formation of double concentric crucibles for the formation of the core as well as cladding material. So I hope you understood a lot of topics, how in all of the ways I can fabricate an optical fiber, what are the two different processes, what's the difference between the basic two processes, right, and what are the four types of vapor phase oxidation process, right. So we have talked in detail about all of these things. If you have any doubt which is left, you can put the doubt in the comment and I will be trying to resolve your doubt as soon as possible. I hope you like this session. If you like it, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and also please give me your feedback as well. Thank you so much.